So now let's go ahead, go to our code examples. And so far, right, what we have done, we have taken into account a lot of things now. Float images. So yesterday we had given this example of how to create a float images. Anyone tried this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how did you achieve that? Are you able to do that?
Viresh, sir.
Yeah, Viresh. How did you do that, buddy?
Inline.
Okay, you used inline. Okay, that's good. Yeah, and you were able to achieve that. What happens when you achieve inline is, again, there's a catch there as well, because uh, you images itself by default have a property like they are inline objects. Okay, there are inline HTML elements. So whether you use display is equal to inline explicitly, or by default the nature of that image is they are inline elements, so they will appear next to each other. But how do you make them with a same size and everything? Then again, you need to use the viewport of sizing width. You need to maintain as like 33 so that you have a equal division of those elements, images. Now if you observe here, because we want to float those images next to each other, we need to have a certain specific thing. What is that? We can use float is equal to left. Now, here we have a h1 tag, then there is a section, there is a division and division. Inside the division is nothing but a container that is holding a image. Okay. So we have defined this class as image container. So this is one image, this is second image, third image. All the three divs contain the three images. Now, because div is a block element, then this will anything inside that will be treated as a block, because the div itself will contain that image. So what will happen here is, the main thing you need to understand is the float is equal to left will set the image to next to each other. That is what you need to give. And if you want to put all the images, three images in the same, then you need to divide the viewport by 33, because from left to right the viewport is 100%, right? Then divide by three images, because you have three images, right? So all the three images, if they have to be shown on the same screen, then you need to give the width as 33 percentage. If you have four images, make it as 25%. If you have two images, make it 50%. Okay, that is how you need to give the width. And obviously there is a padding that has been given, which is like 5 pixel. So what you see, this padding, right, 5 pixel. And this is how you're going to set the images to float next to each other. Now what you need to understand next, one important section I need to bring is important rule, not important rule, or whatever you call it as, like, it always has an exclamation sign followed by important keyword. Okay, important, this is the another CSS property that you need to understand what it is. Okay, it is used to add more importance to a property than anything normal. Now let's take this an example. Okay, let's say how you have this. Just observe this, what is happening. Now I'll go back to the screen and show you with an example. So let's say I want to take this boilerplate, create the boilerplate. And now there is a simple paragraph which contains the lorem text of, let's say, 20 words. And now inside the style tag, I'll use element selector P. Let's set the border to it. Border maybe 3 pixel, solid, indigo. Now this is the border that I have set it for the paragraph. Now I'll say the background color light blue. So how is this look going to look now? The output. This is a simple output that's going to show up like this. Okay, I'm just slightly zooming it a bit, so don't worry. So what is happening here with this simple code? A paragraph. This just contains a paragraph. This is the paragraph how it looks. Now, suppose there is another paragraph that I want to add. Maybe another para. I'll just copy this and add another para. So there are two paragraphs now. All right, two paragraphs with the same text. But now the catch. Let me tell you about one more catch here. You are trying to use what is known as not important exclamation important rule. Suppose I'll take a same selector. Maybe I'll say this one as a class. I'll say para2 class is equal to para1. All right, just I've added a class so that I can select that class dot para2. Now understand this. In your entire um, programming or related to your CSS, what I have done is I have set the paragraph as a selected as an element, set the border and background color. Now, irrespective of whatever the para I am going to use, okay, whatever the para that I am going to use, suppose here I want to use a background color as aqua. Okay, let's see. So now for para 1, there will be light blue, and para 2, the color would be aqua. But what I'm trying to say now is important. What I'm trying to say, exclamation important. So what it means is, if you observe, the aqua color is not overriding. What it means is, whenever I put exclamation sign and important, this particular declaration will override any declaration for this selector. So wherever I have used a background color, I am changing to a paragraph, then that color won't be set. It is always this color is going to set. So using the exclamation important sign, you are telling to the web browser that it is more important to the property value than normal. So it will override all the previous styling rules. Here what is happening, there is a styling rule, background color is aqua, but it is not taking this because we have set the exclamation important background color for this property. We have set it as light blue. That is the reason you are only going to see light blue wherever the paragraph is taken. So that is the importance of this rule. When used, it will override all previous styling rules for a specific property on that element. Are you able to understand this, guys?
Yes,
That is,
sir.
yeah. Basically, you are overriding anything that you have done prior. So usually when the project is huge, right, and you are trying to customize a small change, and you are not sure where this particular styling is set, at that point in time, if you want to modify it for the website or any element in your website, you can use this exclamation important sign to override anything. Any change that has been done prior to that will be overridden with the new styling rule that you have set with exclamation important sign. All right, so now let's go to math functions. Yeah, there are certain math functions that you can do even in CSS. So what are those math functions? One is like you can use calc. Calc is for calculating. and calculation to be the property values. So like for example width. Now let's say width you have taken, now in the same example, let's say I have not given the width, right? Let's say I'm going to give the width. Now width is equal to, if I say 50%, or let's say if I say 100%, then it will obviously, that is the default. It will occupy the 100% of the viewport. So you are seeing it is occupying the 100% of the viewport. Now, let's say I want only at the end I want to leave only 200 pixel. So the rest of it I want to occupy. In this case, what I can go ahead and do is calc. Then I can go ahead and add 100% minus 200 pixel. What I'm trying to do, take the 100% of the viewport, then subtract 200 pixel out of it. Whatever the value comes, attach that to width. That is what it means. So it is taking 100% of the viewport, then 200 pixel is getting removed. Okay. So I'll try to reset that. So this 200 pixel is getting removed, and the rest is occupied by the paragraph. Okay. Understood how the calc is working?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the same is the case with, like, if I want to say, uh, let's say I want to add height. So now there is another property here. We have math is max and min. Okay. So max is function uses the largest value. Okay. And then min is uses the smallest value. So now what I'll do, the height, I want to set the max of, let's say, uh, 20% of the viewport, or let's say 300 pixel, whichever is the max. Whether it is 20% of the viewport, like from here to here, that is the height, the viewport height, and 20% would be somewhere here. Okay. And this will be the 20% of the viewport, or it can be 300 pixel, whichever the maximum of that value will be taken. Now let's see the output here. Save this. So what is happening? So it is taking only 20% of the viewport. Okay. Let's say 20% of the viewport. Okay, 50-50. Why is it not taking? I don't know why is this not taking. 50. What is happening here? So here I am taking width. Width I am taking. Then why can't it be set to height? Okay, let me give this as a height. Let's try with height. I don't know why width is not taking. Let's try with width. Yeah, width is taking. And now what is the maximum that has been taken? If I want to see what value is it taking, I can go ahead and inspect it. Let me admit someone. Now, if I go ahead and inspect it at the bottom, responsive dimensions. Yeah. Now I'll take this and see what is the value it is taking. So it is taking 300, 664, 646 pixel as the height. But 600. So what it is taking is 50% of the viewport. It is not taking 300 pixel. Now, if you go here, guys, what you observe is I'm take the maximum of width. Width either can be a maximum of 50%, or it can be a 300%. In this case, it is taking the max is taken as 600 pixel. If you observe, the actual width of the element is 645 pixel. So this is the max compared to 300. If I had given maybe 700 pixel, what will happen? It will take this as a max rather than 50. Let's see that. And let's go ahead and refresh it. Let's go ahead and check this. I'll take the selector and see. Yeah, if you see, observe now, guys, it is coming to 700 because it has exceeded the 645. So between 645 and 700, 700 is the max. That is the reason the 700 pixel it is currently occupying. Okay, are you able to understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's the same case with min as well. Okay, even min also you can do, take min. In this case, the min is 50%. Let's see, it should show now 645. Okay, let's see, let's go ahead and check that. Yeah, now it is showing 655 because we have taken the minimum of that. Between 700 and 645, 645 is the minimum, so hence the width of this element is taken to 645. Yeah, I'm just wondering why this height is not taking. mm, let's see if I add 300 pixel, is it working? Yeah, 300 pixel is working. Now what about? Okay, got it. So because it is the value between viewport, right? Viewport size is from this to this. That is the reason it is not taking. Okay, got it. So viewport is only for the horizontal width. So you can get that through the width you have, because we have set it in percentages, right? Now if I go ahead and set it in terms of 25 percentage, okay, now this won't work because a height can only be either auto, or you can put it in terms of, if you observe, either you can put it in auto or you can put that value as any other content. Okay, all right. So just to recapitulate the things here for you, there are certain functions, that mathematical functions that you can leverage. One is calc. The function performs the calculation and gives the result. And then there is a max. Then this function will take the largest of the value and assign it to the property. And min will always take the minimum of the values, and each value are comma separated for both min and max. All right. Now let's talk about resize property. Now resize, as the name itself suggests, what we are trying to do, if you observe at the bottom right, you can hold it and resize the element. Okay, now this is a paragraph. I can go ahead and resize this however I want on my web page, and this property can be implemented using the resize property. For that, the simple thing is you need to use resize. Okay, that is the thing you need to use. Now resize specifies if and how the element should be resizable by the user. Okay, so now either you can have both vertical or horizontal. Okay, now initial and inherent are, obviously initial sets the property to the default value. Inherent, if you have a parent and child div inside a div, then the div inside or the child will inherit from the parent if you give the inherit. Okay, none is by default. Now let's do that. In the same example I can take, let's say there are two paragraphs that I have added. Maybe CSS. Okay, maybe for dot para 1 I want to set a resize. So let's say for para 1, right, let me use it a little bit more content, so that lorem, let's say 200 words. Okay, class is equal to para1. So now I'm taking this para1 as a class selector, and then I'll try to add the resize. Maybe prior to that, I'll add background. Don't need background color. I'll just add border so that it will be visible for you. Border 3 pixel solid. Black is enough. By default, the color will be black. That should be enough. And then I want to resize. Resize has got options like vertical, horizontal, or both. Let's try only horizontal now. So what will happen? It will only move horizontal, but not vertical. Okay. Now let's go ahead and see. Now this is the resize. Now if I want to, okay. Now what I'll do is I'll set some boundary to it. What I'll set is uh, width. Width is only 50 percentage. Okay. I want to set width as 50 percentage and height as, let's say, 200 pixel. That should be good enough. Now again, overflow is equal to none, I should mean, and that should be good. Now what, just try to understand here the properties, what I'm trying to see. Okay. Now because I have not set the overflow, right, we can go ahead and say uh, overflow is equal to, let's say, scroll. Okay. Now if you observe here, I can only move the element to horizontal. I can't move vertical. I just can't move because I have set the resize only to horizontal. And if I change it to vertical, right, then what will happen? It will be able to move vertical but not horizontal. I can't move horizontal. It will be only vertical. Okay. So resize horizontal and vertical. Now let's say if I want to add a resize both, which means I can do both ways, horizontal as well as vertical. I can go ahead vertical as well. I can go ahead horizontal as well. Both the ways I can go and provide the resize property. All right. Make sense, guys? How to use the resize?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now, the next one I want to bring to your notice is about a variable functions. Now, this is one interesting concept, guys. Just just observe here, because this is one of the very basic concepts in CSS, and usually in the live production environment, we will use this for a very lot of purposes. Okay. Now, when you say a variable, you need to understand certain things here. Okay. There is a function called var, okay, which is used to insert the value of a CSS variable. So CSS has got a property and a value, right? So whenever you have the value same for a lot of the things, lot of the elements, then you want to modify only that, then you're going to change only the value. Okay. Now suppose let's say this example itself, I'll take it. And this is a good example to demonstrate. Now let's say this, and then I'll go ahead and remove this. Just observe this part. I'll open this. Now if you observe what you're trying to see it here, what you're seeing is a color one, a color two, color one, color two, color one, and all the way there is a paragraph at the bottom. That is because what we have added here, a simple h1 header, then there is a section, and we have given the section class name as color 1, color 2, and then each class we are changing inside the div. Each div, this is a div open tag and div close tag, and then there is a enclosed tag content which says color 2, color 2, color 1, color 2, and then color 1, color 1. In this way there are certain structures that have been added. Okay. Div structure is added here, and each has given a color and a class name. The class name, there are couple of class names that you need to have here. One is color one, color two. There is color first and color second. There are two colors basically in this we are trying to display. Now, understand that we are going to use a function called var. Var is a function to insert the value into the CSS. Okay, that is first thing. Second is the syntax is how the var function syntax. Syntax is var, inside the parenthesis there is dash dash name and then value. So the name is a required field. The variable name must starts with two dashes, and then there is a value which is optional. Okay, if you provide it is fine. Otherwise, it will take the default value. Then there are global variables can be accessed through the entire document, and then there is a local variables. And how is local variable is different from global variable? There in the global variable, we always use this root selector. Okay, to create a variable with global scope, declare that inside the root selector. So colon root selector is the global variable. For others, you can only use inside the selector where it is declared. Okay, you can have any like a paragraph selector, and inside that you can declare a local variable. That's fine. But whenever you use colon root, it is a global variable which applies through every every element that it is referenced globally. Okay, now let's understand that with this example. Now let's talk about this styling. Now, what is happening here? The global variables are declared, which is colon root. This is a global variable. As you know, the variable name should start with this one hyphen hyphen, which is color one, and I'm giving that a value green, dash dash color 2, giving the value as orange. So now wherever there is a variable, this variable that I am going to use, it will be referred as green. Wherever the variable color 2 is going to be used, it is referred as orange. Now example is here. Now color first, what I'm saying, background color is variable color 1, and then there is a color variable color 2. Okay, so dash dash color 2, because you know that is the syntax, right? You want to set what name of the variable, you are setting the variable name. So now the very first is declare the variables. These are the variables that are defined. And how what kind of variables are there? They are the root variables or the global variables. Now what will happen? Let's say I don't have this. Let's say I'll comment it out. And simple, I have taken this value. I'll remove this. Yeah, I mean this should be good because we have not assigned anything to it. Let's see the output first. So now how is this structured? This is structured like this: color 1, color 2. There is a space. Why this space and everything is happening? Because we have put the float is equal to left, text alignment center, padding we have given as 10 pixel. Okay, for the each div element, this is a div selector, and width is 23%. Okay, so 1 2 3, you are adding that. Just a second. Okay, 23%, which means we are adding four colors there. Okay, four values, because the viewport is 25 25 25, right? Because we have added 10 pixel of padding, just trying to accommodate it between the 23 23 23 percentage, and height is auto set. That's fine. Now we want to change the color. What happens here? Wherever the variable, now what I can go ahead and do, I can go ahead and say, let's say I want to give it a green color. So I want to give it a green color, and for this I want to give it as a orange color. ORANGE, orange. Okay, now again this is one, and the other one is I can go ahead and give this one as orange and this one as green. So this is how my output is going to look like now. Orange, green, orange, green, orange, green. I have added the tabular in a checkbox or a square box kind of. Now you should observe here one thing. There are a lot of green and oranges everywhere I want to use. Suppose down the line you have these variables being used in an actual production environment some hundred times somewhere. Okay, the CSS file contains some hundred times that you are putting the theme color of your website wherever those variables are used. Now suddenly you want to change that variable color. So imagine in your document, which is like 2000, 3000 odd lines, and you need to go each and go ahead and change it to, suppose I want to change this green to white. There is a new requirement has come. I need to change this to white and this to black. So imagine that wherever there is green, I need to make it as white, and wherever there is orange, I need to make it as black. So this has to be done for all those 200, 300 odd references that are existing in my CSS file, and then I'll go ahead and see the output. So the best usage of these variables is you can just give the variable to them, and there will be at only one location that you can go ahead and change. Like for example, if I want to give this as a variable, then dash dash color one. So what is this color one? Color one is the global variable that is defined here. Okay, we are trying to define a global variable which is dash dash color one. All right. So now I'm setting this to variable color one. Then I'll set this to variable color two. Variable. Then I'll add dash dash color two. Okay, this is one thing. Then I'll go ahead and add variable dash dash color 2, and then I can go ahead and add variable dash dash color 1. Okay, so this is just one time activity for me. I need to put the variable names, that's it. Whenever I want to change the theme of the color website itself. So now what is it going to look like? This is going to look like, suppose I want to change to black to white and white green to white, suppose, and orange to black. And I can go ahead and do at only one position where my global variables are defined. Rest all will be taken care into because the variables have been used. So are you understanding the usage, guys, here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so anything, if you want to have to change it to any other color, you can just add it. Like if I want to change it to coral, okay, CORAL, you can change. And if you want to go to indigo, you can go ahead and change indigo. All right, so accordingly this is going to change, it is going to take care of it. All right, that is the usage of variables. Now you saw this as a global variables. Okay, whenever that is colon root is used, this selector, root selector, this is for a global variables. Now what are local variables? Local variables are always defined within the selector. Okay, like for example, if we have a p selector, inside that I'm going to use a hyphen color and I'm setting it to blue, and that color I can use only within the p tag, only the p selector, not outside of it. Okay, so this won't have any effect if I use outside. Even if the name matches, it is not going to change. It is only limiting to this local within the inside of the element selector. Are you understanding this, the difference between local and global?
Yes, sir.
All right, so now that's about local and global selectors. Yeah. Box sizing. So what is this box sizing? Now, so what is this box sizing? Box sizing allows you to include padding and border in a element's total width and height. So now in order to understand that, first understand there is something that we need to see in terms of box model. Okay, now let me go there. Let's say this is there. I'll just add a boilerplate, and then I'll add, let's say, two paras which contains lorem text of 20 words. Okay, just I have added. Now I'll do the styling. Just p selector or element select, not strong. Sorry. Let me add style here. Style. I'll add p selector. Inside the p selector or the p element selector, I'll add border to it. 3 pixel solid. That's enough. And now let me check this output. Two paragraphs, simple two paragraphs, and there is a border set to it. That's very simple. And maybe I'll set the width to it. Width as 30 percentage, which means only occupy 30% of the viewport. Okay, all right, that is good. Now let me make this padding. Let's say padding as 10 pixel, and this I'll set it border as 5 pixel. 5 pixel, padding as 10 pixel. Let's say margin as another 15 pixel, or maybe 20 pixel, let's say. Now this is how the output looks. Now let's inspect this. Okay, now I'm going to show you a interesting thing here. Let's say I want to add it to the right side. I don't know why this is not taking. All right, now I'll go ahead and try to see this element. Okay, now if you go to your developer tools, right guys, and in the styles you will see this particular diagram. What this is called as, this is called as a box model. Always remember, in CSS this is called as a box model. Now what all it contains, it contains the actual, the content of the box, which is 265 pixel, which is from left to right. It is the width is 265 pixel, the height is 72 pixel. Okay, that is what it means. And then there is padding. Okay, and then there is actual border, which is this black border what you are seeing. And then there is it a zoom? Okay, let me try to remove the zoom. Yeah, if I remove the zoom, it will show me the right thing. Yeah, now this is what is the width I have given, guys? So instead of this, I'll give it as a 200 pixel, just for our computation purpose. Okay, nothing about it, just to show you an example of how the box model works. Okay, I've set the height and width as 100 and 200 and 100 pixel. Okay, just to show you. Now if you observe this in the style, you have 100, 200 by 100. This is your content of the element, which is a paragraph, which is 200 pixel is your width, 100 pixel is your height. And then comes what? There is a 10 pixel of padding, which is the space here, right? What you have is a padding here. What you see in the green, right? This is the padding. So padding is 10 pixel. And then comes the margin. Then comes the border. Border is 5 pixel. Okay, the border that I have given is 5 pixel. And then comes the this one margin, which is 20 pixel. Like this margin, what you see here, this is 20 pixel. Top, bottom, right, left. Now if you want to see the width of this particular element, it will be 20 plus 5 25 plus 10 35, 35 plus 200 235, and then you need to add all these as well. So 20 and 20 is 40, 5 plus 5 10, so 50, then 10 plus 10 20, 20 plus 50 is 70, and then there is 200. So totally the width will be 270. Okay, so understood how to compute the width of an element here.
Yes, sir.
20 plus 5 25 plus 10 35, then 235, then 2 45, 250 plus 20 270. Okay, so 270 is the width of the element. Then height of the element is 20 plus 5 25 plus 10 35 plus 100 135 plus 10 145 plus 5 150 150 plus 20 is 170. So the total width is 270, the height is 170 as per the box model. Now, with that background, you now that you understood what the box model is, now let's understand the box sizing. What is this box sizing? Box sizing allows you to include padding and border in the element's total width and height. Okay, what it does, it will include the padding and border in the element's total width and height. Now let's go ahead and apply this to our example. Now what is happening here, uh, in your box we are just adding this element. Okay, just adding this, nothing else. Now I'll go here, and these two, let me remove this. I'll just add this again so that both are same content. Okay, there's no difference. Just I'll add a class. Class is equal to para1, class is equal to para2. Now I'll make this as a para selector, not para1, only para1. So now just we'll see the output. This is what the output is. Okay, because we are only selecting the para1. Now let's say for the para2 also I'll have the same styling, para2. Now what will happen? So para1 and para2 contains the same content, contains the same styling. There is no change at all. But only difference I am going to add now is box sizing is equal to border box. Simple. So what it means now is whenever you use box sizing is equal to border box, what it means, include padding and border in the element's total width and height. Now with this, just we'll observe what changes has been done to the to this particular element. Now, already there has been some change. Now let's go ahead and inspect that. If you observe, this is what we saw, 270 and 170 already there. And now with box sizing, what will happen? Because this was set to what? 200 as the width, right? We have set 200 as the width. Now 200 width has now become 170 because the padding and border is included. So the padding is what? 5 plus 10 15, and this 5 plus 10 is 15. 15 plus 15 30. 30 plus 170 will now make 200, which is the actual value that you have given here. So what it means is the width that you define for an element with box sizing is equal to border box will be the actual width of the element, which includes the border plus the padding. Okay, that is the reason you have the border and padding and border. All these along with the width will now give you 200 pixel. Here in earlier case, the content itself was taking 200 pixel, not the border and padding. That was left alone. That was again extra that need to be added. So whenever you are writing a program or creating a website where you have a HTML and CSS is being used, always try to use box sizing is equal to border box. This is the best practice, because at that time you will know that whatever the width that you have set is actual width that is being taken into account. Okay, the width of the element should always include the border and padding, and which is the right case when we are trying to use box sizing. So ideally, whenever your programs are a styling is written, what is the normal practice the developers do is they will put this universal selector. Okay, they say that star box sizing is equal to border box will be at the very first rule, the CSS rule that is set, which means apply this to every element in the website. Star box sizing is equal to border box, as simple as that. Okay, understood?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now the multiple columns, like as the name itself suggests, instead of having written in a single column, websites can be written in a column wise, like you see in your newspapers. Okay, like the way, let's say here, if you see the output, right, there is para one. This is entirely one para, but this para is divided into three columns. Like it starts from here, it ends here, and then starts here and ends here, then starts here and ends here. So any content can be divided into multiple paragraphs, like the way we see in multiple columns, like the way we see it here. So what is that we need to do? We need to use what is known as multiple column layout. Okay, so multiple column layout has got what is known as column count. How many columns you want the entire para to be, or a div to be divided into, like 2 3, or in this case it is three columns, 1 2 3. So the column count will be 3 here. And the column gap is nothing but this gap. What is this gap that you want to specify? So that is column gap. You can specify the column gap. And column rule style. So how do you want this column rule? Column rule is this one. You see a blue line here. This is a column rule. Whether you want it a solid or dotted or anything, you can make that style. And you can change the width of that column rule. You can change the color. In this case, we have kept it as a blue, right? So you can change the color of the column rule and all that. And then there is a column rule is a shorthand for it, like the way we have it for border, right? You can give border width, style and color. In the same way, we can give column rule width, style and color in the shorthand, that is column rule. Okay, understood? Then column span, if you have certain elements to span across for multiple columns, you can use column span. And then there is a column width, as name itself suggests the optimal width of the column. And then column rule is a shorthand representation. We have already seen this. Now let's take this example. Okay, let's say, let me create a para. Let's say I want to add a para with around 200 words. Okay. Now, inside this, I will say there is a para selector or an element selector. Now I want to add is multiple columns, right? So first thing what you need to, sorry, where is this? Now I'll take a P selector. Okay. Now I'll add a column. Let's say column count. I want to add a column count. Column count is what? Let's say I want to add a column count to 3. Okay. So I want to add a column count to 3. Right. So what you observe here, the simple paragraph was split into three. If this is not there, how the output would look like? It is simple paragraph with 200 words. Now, because I have used column count is equal to 3, it is going to give me into 3 columns. Okay, now let me say uh, text align is justify, just to look like there are 3 columns. And then I will add what is next known as column rule style. Let's say it is solid. Okay? And how it looks, it looks a black color by default. This is a column rule style. I can go ahead and use dashed as well, that is also acceptable. You can have a dashed rule, and then you can also add column column columns rule width. Width maybe, let's say, 5 pixel. There is a 5 pixel of width for this column rule. And then I want to add as a column rule color. So I can change the color. Maybe I'll add it as a blue. If you see, this is a blue color being added. All right. So this is how you can go ahead and create. Maybe I'll make it a solid. Looks good. Instead of 5 pixel, let's make it 2 pixel. This is better. All right. In this way you can put that into multiple columns. Instead of 3, I can put into 5 also. That is also fine. So you can put that in as many columns as you want, depending on the text. All right, make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, or I can just use column rule and give all in a single line. That is a shorthand version as well. That also can be done. Just use column rule. You can say maybe what you can say is 3 pixel solid indigo. That is also fine. You can go ahead and use that. Sorry, this is what it will look like: indigo color with 5 pixel. Okay, this is a shorthand version basically to represent. All right, I think that marks the end of our CSS learning, guys. Again, there is one more small topic related to another documentation. We'll talk about that. But yeah, that will be it for CSS. And again, right, we will look into other aspects the next time we visit. Okay. Any questions, guys, so far?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you. And I hope you guys keep practicing them. Okay.